How much should we offer? That's a question all my buyers ask me after we've been looking for homes for a couple weeks or months, 20, 30 homes. They walk into a home that they get all excited. They get that feeling that this is the one, Tim, we finally found it, but how much should we offer? And, I'm all about truth and details. So being truthful, usually I really don't know for certain. I have a general sense of from what we've been looking at. But for like say a $950,000 home, I don't know whether it's going to be closer to 900,000 or closer to $1 million right off the top of my head. So I always tell them, let me run the numbers and we'll go over them and we'll make that decision with all the information. So I have a process, a 5-step process that I'm going to go over in this video. I'm going to show you the spreadsheets that I set up to do part of my analysis, giving you a peek behind the curtain as far as like the tools I have available that the general public doesn't have available to them through the multiple listing service. And I'm just going to walk you through that. It's a lot of details, but stick with me. I think it's well worth it. And I it's um what with my buyers, I don't want to be their cheerleader and just get a sale. I want to make sure they're not paying more than they have to. But then also I don't want them to mm, pass up on a home that is worth every penny of it or maybe even higher than the list price. So it's very important to get a real sense of value. So let me get started here. Um, First of all, the process is I check the 14 AVM models that I have access to, the automated valuation models. Then I do, if I can, average past depreciation analysis. Then I'll go ahead and do a comparable market comparison, look at the homes that are comparable in the immediate area that sold in the past 6 months, kind of like an appraisal type analysis. And I want to try to figure out what an average appraiser will come up with because that's important as far as we structure some of the terms in the contract or the offer that we make. And then I want to go over the general market conditions. Are we in a seller's market or a buyer's market? Because that makes a big difference of what we should anticipate and how we go about making an offer. And then the fifth item is I call the listing agent and I try to gather as much information about the seller and the agent and the whole everything. That the more information you have, the better you can negotiate. But you're trying to see what's important to the seller and see whether that fits in with what's important to you too. So anyway, let's start out with my AVM models. I got 14 of them. You can see Zillow and Redfin. Everyone has access to those. You go to realtor.com and you get 3 other ones there. But I have 14 of them. The more the better, I think. So I have this spreadsheet set up. So I go and take, 5, 10 minutes to find all these, input them in there. I sort them from highest to lowest and I have the spreadsheet calculate automatically the average and the median. Now, the average is just adding these up, dividing by 14, you get the average. The median is going to give you the one in the middle. So, like if you have a real high one up here that's going to skew the average, it's better to go with the median. So, anyway, and I wanted to point this out here too. Like you see here, this home was listed at 950,000. So I'm looking here. Wow, the average and the median is pretty low, but Zillow and Redfin are up here near the list price. So what I've have found over the last couple of years is the Zestimate and Redfin estimate. They really put a lot of weight on the list price. I've seen like some pre-listing analysis I do for a seller, and the Zestimate is really low, and then we put it on the market at a much higher price, and all of a sudden the Zestimate shoots up. So this one I'll show you. That's exactly what happened here. And you see, this is the home, and you see that it was like $730,000, and right away they put it on the market at 950, and the Zestimate shot up. Now, this analysis I was doing was a couple weeks ago, and the Zestimate has now come down to 920,000. So anyway, that's something to be aware of there. So this home too, they bought it in May of 2019 for 441, but they redid the kitchens and bathrooms really nice. They finished the basement, so they put a couple $100,000 into it. So even though it's like 774 and 709, if you add 200,000 to it, it's going to be 900 to 950, and I think that's where the Zillow and Redfin come in. So anyway, I look at those, and then I do a past average appreciation analysis. So they bought it in 2019 for 441. So Zillow has a nice market chart for zip codes. So this zip code is 30097. So what I'll do is, if you do a Google search for Zillow market chart 30097, or whatever the zip code is, one of the first results will be a page like this. And you go down here, and this has the average price of homes in that particular zip code over the years, going back to 2016. You want to make sure that you have it on single family homes. So I'll just go and find out what it was back in May of 2019, what it is now, and then I'll go over to my spreadsheet, enter those numbers, and it calculates that there's a 58% appreciation since in that zip code since May of 2019. And it does the calculations here of adding 58% to 441, and you come up with 697 is the projected price for the average appreciation. Then I do the same thing with a company called InfoSparks that I have access to in the multiple listing service, and I'll show you that. Um, so this goes back to 2011, so that's even further. So I can, if so, anyway, that's real nice. This is a monthly average, so it's pretty noisy. So what I can do, they have a rolling 3 month average, 6 month. I like to go with the rolling 12-month average because real estate prices, especially with schools and stuff, it changes. It's seasonal. So I like to smooth that out there. So I'll go back to the date in 2019, what it is now, and then I'll input that into my spreadsheet. And here, according to InfoSparks, the average appreciation for the 30097 since May 2019 is 67%, which works out to a projected price of 739. So which one is right? Who knows? But I just kind of take the average and median AVM and these two calculations and average them out, it comes out to 730,000. So like I said, you add into maybe $200,000 of improvements since they last purchased it, comes out to around $930,000. So those are the first two ways. And the third way, I'll go ahead and do uh, comparative sales analysis. So I'm looking for maybe 3 or 4 homes that are very similar to the subject homes. If I get enough in that a neighborhood, I'll use those. But a lot of times the neighborhood might be small, and the number of sales with the low inventory, there might just be 1 or 2 sales in the past 6 months in that particular neighborhood. So then I'll go ahead and to get more possible comparisons, I'll open up the analysis to the elementary school district. So in this case, I went ahead and used the elementary school. I narrowed it down to by price from 600 to $1.1 million. And also, this home was built in 1997, so I didn't want to be comparing it to brand new homes or really old homes. So I put a criteria 1990 to 2005. And so you get these results here. So I go through these and, I look at the subject home and I look at, the comparisons here, all the pictures. And a lot of times, the nice thing is a closed home, the multiple listing service keeps the pictures in there unless the listing agent removes it. But versus like Zillow has been pulling all the pictures from the closed sale. So it's tough to really see what, a home that sold a few months ago really looked like. So here are some of the details, the age and then the bathrooms and bedrooms. So here, most like Zillow, they only give the total bedrooms and baths. I like the multiple listing service because it tells you where those bedrooms and baths are, what level they are. So, like if there were two bedrooms and two baths in the basement, that's not going to be as valuable as five bedrooms, if those bedrooms and baths were all up in the main level and you could upper level, and then you could tell whether there's any bedrooms and baths on the main. Square feet, take that with a grain of salt. You never, even though it's public records, you never know if there's a basement, whether they included the basement square feet in there. Sometimes I see it's the total basement, whether it's finished or unfinished. Sometimes they break it out. In this one, they didn't. So let me, like here, this one, they break it out like that. But again, you don't really know for certain. But the one thing I do to give me certainty about the subject home is I use a tool called an app called Cubicasa, and it's on my phone. It's a free app, and you open up the app, and it uses your camera, and you just go walking around scanning where the wall and the floor meet. You're just pointing it down there, and you take it through the whole house here. It takes about 5-10 minutes to scan the whole house. You upload that, and then in like 24 hours, you get a nice report like this with all the calculations. So this main level is 2887 square feet. And then this was partially finished basement here. So that's the finished area. And then it had all this, over half of it was unfinished. So they break that down to 1301 living area below grade, and then these other unfinished areas. So at least that way, I have I have a pretty good idea what the subject home that we're interested in, how big it is. But you still have to be cautious about what you're comparing it to because you never know exactly, even if you pull up the public records. The other thing I like to do is sometimes, sometimes with a subject home, let me find yeah, sometimes say this was the subject home, it gives the listing history. And the nice thing is, if they have when the current owner bought it, in this case, 2016, they have the listing sheet here, and it has still the 25 pictures from it was listed in 2016. So I can go through here and compare these pictures to the current pictures and kind of know maybe they redid the kitchen or the bathrooms or the flooring and so forth. So I can get some idea what they did there. And then two, you want to I pull up the satellite view here. So I want to know, like this one is backing up to Swanee Creek there. So the nice thing too is it in a flood zone? So right here, I have access to the flood zone. So you could kind of see that, yeah, half the 2/3 of the property is in a flood zone, but it's not the house isn't in the flood zone there, so it probably doesn't need flood insurance. But you want to know that some homes are in the flood zone and you might need to get flood insurance, so you want to be aware of that. Um, so the other thing there, looking at the satellite map, if it's backing up to the Chattahoochee, that's kind of a premium lot, I think, for a lot of people. Then, if it was maybe some home backing up to Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, that's going to be a lot of noise. So if you want to adjust these sales for that, or, if it's in a neighborhood here that, where was it, that is backing up to uh, like the tennis courts and the swimming pool and stuff, that's going to be a nuisance there to a lot of people. Sometimes it's a benefit, but you want to know, and if there's like power lines right in, say if there were power lines coming across here, that's a big negative that you want to make an adjustment for when you're making your comparisons. So that's what I do there. Um, so you list the positives and the negatives and you make those adjustments, and that's a whole other video I'm going to make on how to make those adjustments for to adjust for square feet, to adjust for an extra bedroom or bathroom, finished basement versus unfinished basement. um, so that's kind of what an appraiser does. They just find homes that are comparable and then make adjustments and come up with their estimate of value. So that's a whole other video, but that's what I do. Then also, I like to go ahead and another piece of information here on Zillow. Where is it? This home. Zillow, this has the number of views and the number of saves. So this home has been on the market for 32 days and has 119 saves. Sometimes in a really hot market, a real nice home, I'll see 119 saves in the first day and then over 1,000 after 32 days. So this is a nice home, but it's for whatever reason, it's not getting a lot of saves from people looking on Zillow. Then the fifth, oh, then the market stats. The fourth item is the overall market conditions. And there I like to go to InfoSparks, and I'll go with the zip code here. The biggest one that works a lot is months of supply. And that months of supply inventory is how the number of, like, if there's 1,000 homes on, or say 100 homes on the market and they're selling at 10 homes per month, then it would take 10 months to sell all 100 homes. So that would be a 10-month supply. So usually in a normal balanced market, the the normal inventory is like 6 months supply. So you could kind of see back in 2011 you had a 10-month supply. So that's why prices were down, a lot of homes on the market. And then it came back normal here through the teens. And then in the crazy market, 2022, it was down below 1 month. And in this zip code, it's still not much inventory here. And you can also look at well, the homes for sale show you the same thing. It was as high as 400 back in 2011. Now you're at 59 homes on the market only. So it's pretty tight inventory. Then you could go for percentage original list price. So this is what they're selling at. So, if they're getting list price, it's 100%. Back in 2011, they were only getting 90% of list price. So normally it's more like 96% in the crazy 2022 market. The average home was getting 102.8% of list price, and now it's up 99%. So again, this is a pretty good seller's market. And then we can go days on the market. You see here it was about 90 days, and now it's 17 days. And if you look at the median, the median is just 7 days. So this is telling me if the average is 20, there must be a few homes that are stinkers that are for whatever reason are just a long time on the market that is skewing the average up, but the median is only 7. So that's a real hot market in that price range. So I can do any zip code, I can do the overall market here. So all that information I look at. And then the fifth most important, the fifth item in my process is calling the listing agent. I want to find out about the seller. What's their situation? How are they motivated? Um, are they under contract on a brand new home they want to close in a month? Or are they just trying to sell their home for as much as possible and then they're going to go look for a home after they sell? And sometimes, I like to know what's most important to the seller. A lot of times it's price, but a lot of times it's the terms, closing date. Some might not want a quick closing. They don't have a home to move into. They want some time to look around. So they might want to close in 3 months. So sometimes you can do a quick closing and then have them rent it back for a couple months. So I want to know that. Um, I want to ask the agent, um, like if the home's been on the market for 60 days, I want to ask the agent whether they've had any offers been submitted. Sometimes the agent will say, "Oh yeah, we had a couple offers that they were really low ball offers." So it's like, well, what exactly is a low ball offer? How low were they? Is it under 900,000 or 850,000? So that'll give me some guidance what they perceive to be a low ball offer. Um, and then what else here? Then also, if there aren't a lot of comparable sales, I usually just ask them, help me with the price. How did you come to the list price? Or is there a specific home sale that you use? And usually every seller has some home down the street that their home is as good as the seller thinks their home is as good as that one. It sold for 950, so ours is at least 950, if not better. It's important to know if they have a specific house that they're basing things on. So then you could kind of analyze that. Maybe that home has some extra features that are a lot better than the subject home, or maybe there's different factors in there. So you can use that information and try to persuade them that maybe their home isn't as valuable as the one that they basing their pricing on. Um, and then, and then you want to know whether they have any offers in on it. A lot of times if a home in a hot market comes on the market on Thursday, you want to know whether they're looking at every offer that comes in and negotiating right from the beginning, or whether they're going to wait until the end of Sunday after an open house and call for best and final offers. I do believe that it's best, no matter what, make the offer as quickly as possible, because sometimes there's some perceived advantage. Of being the first one to make that offer. It shows that you're motivated and you want it. And I think that's when it comes down to it, that's probably the most important thing to most sellers is they want a motivated buyer. And I know, most buyers, they don't want to tip their hands to show how excited they are about the home because they think they're going to lose their negotiating advantage. So they kind of act like they're not that interested or it's no big deal. They have other homes to consider, but sometimes that backfires on them. If I'm a seller, the most important thing to me is I want to, before I negotiate a contract and accept a contract and take my home off the market, maybe for 2 months, I want to be certain that that buyer really wants my home. And if there's any problems that come up, they're going to jump through all the hoops they need to complete the sale. So that's what I'm looking for. So it's always good, I think, especially in a competitive market, to present yourself as a very motivated buyer who loves the home, and whatever problems come up, they're going to stick with it. So versus someone who's non-committal or wishy-washy. I hear that from a lot of agents. They say, listing agents, they say, yeah, Tim, put in a backup offer because I don't get a good sense, a feeling from our current contract, because they just started looking at homes. They weren't started with a lender yet, and things like that. So you want to have your finances in order, and you want to show them that you love the home and you're going to stick with it and get the deal done. So anyway, that's the process I go through. So the other thing is, so just a few things that, and I'm going to make a lot of other videos about all these specific topics. Like, you got to decide whether, if it's a competitive um, offer situation, whether you want to go with an escalation clause, and I can go over the details on that, or whether you need a um, appraisal shortfall gap contingency. And I'll go through those in another video. And so basically, I'm all about trying to get you all the information so you can make a smart, informed decision. I don't want you paying more than you have to for a home, but then I don't want you passing up on a home that's, worth every penny and that's going to work out good for you. So along with that, saving money in negotiating, I help you shop for a mortgage. So sometimes it's not as easy as you think it is. And I think a lot of people think they're comparing apples to apples. But a lot of times I see buyers comparing apples to oranges when they're looking for mortgages. And a mortgage, you can save a ton of money if you get a 6% mortgage versus a 6.5% mortgage, or 15 years. You could save, I think, $30,000, $40,000 in total payments. If you have a 1% difference, like maybe you go with a 15-15 adjustable rate mortgage, that's a full point lower than a 30-year fixed. That could be worth over $100,000 over 15 years. So I help you go through that. Also, a buyer usually gets to pick the closing attorney. I shopped 40, well, just about 40, I think it's 38 right now, 38 closing attorneys. I got all their um, itemized fees. So I sort them in my spreadsheet from the highest to the lowest. The highest is around $1,300. The lowest is right around, I have three of them between $600 and $700. So I could save you $600 by knowing about really good closing attorneys that charge a lot less than a lot of other ones. So so anyway, I like to that's my motto: help you save money. I'm kind of like, I consider myself the Clark Howard of real estate. Help you save money and avoid being ripped off. And the other thing, if you have to sell your home, I'm also, let me just, a listing agent. I actually finished this book, Home Selling Truth. It's available on Amazon for $24.99. It goes into detail about exactly what I do to sell your home. And if you look here on the cover, this is my sign. This is my custom designed signpost with a solar powered light. I do brochures that I put out at the sign, and my brochures isn't just the standard little brochure. It's a 20-page storybook. I call them storybooks because it's 20 pages. Um, it tells the story of your home. Every home has a story, and you got the nice money shot centerfold spread there. Um, we do we do video shots or drone shots. I also do. I have a great videographer that takes all these little video snippets, puts it all together, and then we do a voiceover where, in the storybook, I just ask the sellers a series of questions. And here, sometimes I put the seller's picture there. I try to humanize them, and I just let them tell their story, why they are moving, why they bought this home originally, what they like about the neighborhood, what they love about their home. So I do a voiceover of the video, just saying all that, telling their story. And um, then I'll also have floor plans there. I think that's important for buyers. I do a 3D Matterport video tour that they can see online. So I do, those are just some of the things I do as a listing agent. And I do a flat $10,000 listing fee. So, like, yeah, a lot of agents charge somewhere around 3% for that. So for $1 million home, a lot of agents are charging $30,000 for the listing end, and then whatever you pay for the buyer agent compensation. So I just do a $10,000. That's enough to cover all the extra things I do, plus make a profit. So when I do 20 or 30 transactions over the year, which is a good number of transactions, but it's nothing that overwhelms me at all. I probably can do 50 or 60 transactions in a year and still work it, where most agents are doing maybe 5 transactions. So they don't have enough volume to give you a nice low price. But I do. And then with the, as a buyer's agent, I've been always a rebate agent, so I give 50% of my buyer agent commission to the buyer to use against their closing costs. So if it's 3%, they get 1.5%, I get 1.5%. Now with new NAR real estate settlement, and maybe sometimes sellers aren't going to be offering commission. So I'm going to just maybe a flat 1.5% buyer agent commission that if the seller isn't offering anything, we'll work that into the closing costs that we have them pay. If the seller is offering 3%, then you're still going to get anything above my 1.5% fee. So that you'll get that rebated. So anyway, I've been in the real estate business for over 25 years. I love doing it. I get in the details. I'm going to do a lot of new videos here. I got this system set up now, so I'm really excited. I'm going to be able to share my screen and go over all sorts of details. Next video I think I'm going to do is how to compare head to head two different mortgage offers. I just got done helping the buyer analyze which deal is better. So so if you like that, subscribe and get notified when the next video comes up, and share it with anyone you might think it would be helpful for. So thank you for putting up for my long-winded video here. But like I said, I wanted to give you the truth and the details. It's the details that I've always wanted all the time. So I'm hoping that I connect with some people who really want to get into the details and not just all the 30-second TikTok videos and the fluff and all that sort of stuff. All right, take care.